To Message Monday, Christian Men, Christian Walk, Christian Talk, with your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, faith again. Let's go. Welcome to Message Monday. My brother, what it do, man?
My main man, and I know I say it every week. That track is cold.
I know,
that track
man.
is cold.
I know, and I got to do a new. I'm gonna work on a new video too. Do a different voiceover. I want to use the same track because I like it, and get the updated flyer. So yes, folks, I know it is an hour early. I shared last week. We are kicking back off at 7 p.m. because I got some other obligations I need to stick to.
Yes, sir.
But happy Monday. Welcome to
Monday.
Welcome to Message Monday. Christian Men, Christian Walk, Christian Talk, where the sisters are always welcome.
Always.
Glad to be here. You know, you see me and my boy. We I say, you know what? We suited and booted tonight, y'all. You know.
Yes, sir.
You know what? We coming home from work, man. I'm keeping my tie on the show. So I just, little maturation mode there, man. That's what's
so
happening.
I'm not alone.
You're not alone.
I always feel like I'm overdressed because I'm wearing my work clothes.
No, man, we back to styling, baby. We back to styling, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
yes,
hey,
sir.
Wait a minute. What's that knot that I see you got there, bruh?
Man, this one brother, he got dreads and everything. He showed me a new way how to tie a knot, and I love it. But you have to show me how to tie that for my other ties because I'm not undoing this.
Yes, I got you, man. I feel you. Well, hey, fam, share the broadcast. Please share the broadcast. Get your people to subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. Get them to subscribe to the Facebook page. I'm thinking about revamping that and just making a Message Monday page, shutting down my Endura fan page, and just making a Message Monday fan page.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know,
really?
Man. Yeah, I've been thinking about it, man. I'm thinking about it. Just, this is the year, man, of really consolidation for me.
You're doing big things, man.
It's the year of consolidation, man. I got to streamline some things, be a little bit more focused and intentional. And but hey, man, let me kick off prayer, bro, and then we're gonna get started talking about what we're gonna talk about. Father, we thank you for bringing me and my brother together another night. Thank you for the opportunities. Thank you for even the finances that it takes to fund the show, to have a StreamYard subscription, just to go live and continue talking to the people, Lord. Whether one shows up or 50 show up, we just here to have conversation, Christian conversation, great conversations, and just a platform, Lord, that doesn't have to deal with any profanity, that people can actually tune in and have their kids tune in to without worrying about them being tainted in any way, Lord. So we thank you. Be with us on this evening as we engage in a few topics of discussion. In Jesus' name, amen.
Jesus' name, amen.
Man, it's a lot to talk about, bro. Definitely want to do something to acknowledge Black History Month. So I had my Black History expert, my wife.
Yeah,
my wife. I know my man Eddie out there somewhere, but my wife, man, she does this, from her heart for a living, for free. So, I will read this. This is coming from eric.ed.gov. I'm not sure what ERIC is the acronym for, but it was written by someone named Arushi Shah back in November of 2012. All of Africa will be free before we can get a lousy cup of coffee. The impact of the 1943 lunch counter sit-ins on the civil rights movement. Quote, one spring afternoon, a group of young Black students enter a local eating establishment with one modest desire to sit with friends and enjoy a cup of coffee. They wait patiently, but are only served dirty looks, cold shoulders, and some choice words. Such an experience was not uncommon in Chicago in the early 1940s. Segregation, though illegal, was alive and visible To all of those who chose to notice, despite the humiliation, the students remained seated hour after hour. Such were the humble beginnings of the long and arduous journey towards social justice in America. Most traditional histories of African American civil rights movement focus on major events of the South during the 1950s and 1960s, including desegregation of schools, Southern lunch counter sit-ins, and the 1963 March on Washington. While such emphasis has illuminated African American conflicts against de jure segregation of the Deep South, it has also inadvertently obscured earlier struggles against de facto segregation in the North. In fact, the foundation of the civil rights campaign was led in northern cities as far back as the early 1940s. Two of the earliest instances of northern protests took place in Chicago in 1943 as sit-ins at Jack's Sprat's Coffee House and Stoner's Restaurant.
Wow.
And other early northern nonviolent direct action sit-ins were seeds of the civil rights reform movement. While initially resulting in modest successes of limited scope, these seeds eventually grew into an effective strategy for achieving desegregation of local dining facilities and public accommodations, gained broader appeal in both northern and southern states, and blossomed to become a small yet integral component of the mass civil rights reform movement of the 1950s and 1960s, which ultimately led to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. End quote.
Wow.
So until my wife said it, I had no idea that sit-ins happened here first in Chicago.
And as early as the 1940s.
As early as the 1940s. Now we know
no idea.
Yeah, we know that Coretta Scott King was not the, I'm sorry, not Coretta Scott King, forgive me. Rosa Parks was not the first one to refuse to move to the back of the bus.
Correct.
Right. I can't think of that young lady's name right now. I just watched.
I can't either.
The actor actress Monique, comedian Monique mentioned that on her Shannon Sharp show recently. So I want to actually pull her name up real quick.
And I still have not watched that interview.
I wouldn't say you need to, bro. And I'm definitely going to talk about that though, because I think it's important to talk about what's happening with Black folks on white platforms.
On white platform, that's interesting. So you're gonna have to elaborate later on in the show. What you
Eddie, real quick, Eddie. I know you're working on your book. First of all, Eddie's working on an interactive digital book, bro.
What?
It looks freaking phenomenal. It's gonna be a quiz, but it's going to teach Black history, African history, Black history. It's going to teach it at the same time. It looks great. I cannot. As soon as it comes out, I'm buying it.
You two brothers are too much.
No, well, first of all,
y'all too much.
Me and Eddie don't have 8 books written, so we're not even.
Stop it.
I'm just saying. When me and Eddie get 8 books, bro, then we can say we on your level. Until then,
going with that. This dude is working on an interactive digital book.
Eddie, he getting cold with it, man. Eddie,
go ahead.
I know you listening. Please type in. I cannot think of the young lady's name. She was before Rosa Parks, with the bus. I can't think of her name, Eddie. But what is her name? I know you know it. I'm gonna look up. I'm just gonna Google before Rosa. Claudette Colvin. Claudette Colvin was her name.
I believe you are correct.
Yes, Claudette Colvin. So we got that. So yeah, man. So I wanted to start off with some history. I think it's amazing. As we're still learning so much about our history, and this is the problem of our youth.
Yeah.
They're not in a condition to understand their history. And that's based on a lot, right? Most of our young people are focused on their socioeconomic status, right? For families that we don't pour a lot. We talked about this last week, Gary, about not intentionally pouring a lot into our our own home. Not that we didn't want to,
right?
But just sometimes the conditions. Our kids are running around. Your kids are very engaged. It's so much.
And to an extent, rightly so. You got to take care of the now.
You got to take care of the now. You got to take care of the now. And Eddie said she was only 15. What? Bruh.
They were built different.
You see the levels, bruh?
They were built different, man.
Built different, man. Come on.
Man.
And so just to know that, man. But I do want to talk about a few things today, but I wanted to start off with that Black history reference about the sit-ins in the 1940s that took place in Chicago. And correct me if I'm wrong, Gary. I believe I heard Dr. King say that he had never seen hatred like he experienced when he came to Chicago.
He had never seen it the way he saw it in Chicago. Even the deep South where the Klan was behind every tree.
Bruh.
He had never seen racial animus like he had seen in Chicago.
And that's the deeper part of his journey. This brother was in the South. To say that the level of hatred in the North was far worse than he'd ever witnessed, that sends chills through my spine even to this day.
Yes, sir.
To know that our sainted Bishop Brazier was one of the few Black pastors who even wanted him to come here.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Our bishop was harassed.
People, some of his peers, they told him, do not stand with that man. He's on the wrong side of history. Don't be on his side. He's wrong. He's wrong.
Bruh.
Now we see who was on the right side.
Now we see who was on the right side of history. I was listening to an old speech by Harry Belafonte, and he was talking about Martin in his latter years. And I'm a paraphrase because I can't remember the quote exactly, but he looked at Harry and he said, "Man, I think I have brought our people into like an integrated fire or something like that. A burning house."
Mm-hmm.
And to think, you remember the story Bishop told?
Which one?
Remember the story Bishop told? He was on the beach with a young lady, his friend, and another young lady.
No, I never heard this one.
Bruh. Bishop was on the beach. Friends going to the beach.
Yeah.
Police officers approached Bishop and arrest him. Now, this is when Bishop was a child, y'all. Arrest him. He got arrested for assaulting somebody that he did not assault. He said his mother and father always told him, don't say nothing. You're going to be scared when you have an encounter with the police. Now, bro, we talking when Bishop, I don't know how old he was, but we talking 18 or 19. So we probably talking 40s and 50, bro.
Easy.
Maybe 30s and 40s.
Probably 30s and 40s.
30s and 40s. Bishop didn't say nothing. Waited for his parents. Hey, just confess that you did it. Everything will be okay. Bishop didn't say nothing. I want my parents. They arraigned him that night. Arthur Brazier. Murder. Do you know if Bishop would have gave into that panic?
He would have been gone and everything that we wouldn't even be here.
Bruh, for something that he didn't even do and was nowhere near.
Think about the ramifications down through the decades.
Come on, bruh.
If Apostolic would have been there, but it would never have been what it is now, and we may not have ever come together, our families. Did you think about the ramifications? And when you really think about all of the other young men and women whose futures were redirected, cut off, skewed, twisted, that never reached what they would have otherwise reached. Man.
Yeah. Eddie says, remember that Dr. King came here in 1965, only 46 years from 1919. That means that the murderers of that period's kids were the ones attacking Dr. Woo-wee.
Facts. Deep-seated racial hatred.
I think the amazing thing, Gary, and we have to remember that time is not as long as we think. It's not. It's not. There was a Seinfeld comedian that made a comment about, you're lucky it wasn't back in the 60s or something, whatever Kramer said, that upsets the people. Hey, yes, my man Gary is back. Hey there. Sister Phillips, appreciate you. Miss Tina. So, yeah, man. So just to think, man, you think about John Burge.
Oh, man. And he's just the most notable of the Chicago. I want to be careful. The Chicago corrupt police machine.
Yes.
That saw some measure of accountability for his actions.
Yep.
But think about all of the ones that were under his command. Think about all the lawyers, the detectives, everybody else that were a part of the machine.
Absolutely.
That tortured people in what they call black sites.
Yeah.
And they still have those black sites. You ever heard of the Holman Square black site?
It's right behind one of my old, when I worked for Noble, it's right behind one of my old Noble schools.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I know one of the brothers who was tortured in there.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Bishop went to get him himself.
All of the young people, all of the people that went in there and places like it that never made it out, all of the people whose trauma affected them for decades, even for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Man, there was crazy. I think one of this is the danger of AI. This is we
gotta talk about that one of these days.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it one of these days. But I have to find this case. I read about it a couple of weeks ago. There was a gentleman, 60-something years old, who was 2,000 miles away at the time of a crime that was committed in California. Somehow, this particular department store had AI software, and however he was in the area, he got flagged. Now, they arrested this man. Now, they did let him go, Gary, but they still arrested him. Before he got released, he got raped in prison. He got gang raped. He got hit upside the head in a bathroom and raped by three inmates. This was a man who was locked up innocently. This happened this year, in the last year. But again, a black man who told you, bruh, I was halfway across the country when this took place. Can you imagine the psychological damage that man is feeling, bro?
No.
Man, the Super Bowl is our next topic. So Eddie brings it up. First of all, I did not see the final. I left a relative's house when it went into overtime so I could get home. Did you all catch that passive aggressive statement made to Patrick Mahomes after his team won yesterday? I did not.
I didn't. Because I watched bits and pieces of it. So
yeah, Eddie, please share what that is, man. You got to start working on that book and give us some info. But I watched the Super Bowl. I was invited out to hang with the brother-in-laws, and so I typically, me, I lay low. First of all, Sundays people don't like to leave the house.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to fellowship, man. I thought about Elder Hayes. I thought about Dr. Hayes' book about brotherhood and things like that. And I had an absolutely phenomenal time.
That's
I told
good.
my brother, I said, man, I think I'd have missed out the last 25 years. I have to make up that, for the future. But I had a really good time. So no, I didn't catch the statement. He said, Ms. Phillips says, I think the intention is to damage as many black men possibly, especially men. I 100% agree with you. But for the Super Bowl, I'm gonna talk sports. Y'all know I don't talk sports at all. But Gary, did you watch any of the game at all?
Bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces.
Yeah.
It's first of all, I commend.
I actually went to bed on it. So
it was
overtime.
I heard it was
really
bro.
exciting.
Yeah. It was a slow game. I felt like it was a chess match. No, I don't think you're wrong, Miss Tina, at all about the continual emasculation of Black men in this country. I don't think you are. I don't think you're wrong on that at all. I would never say you were wrong. I would never say you were misinformed by making that statement. But now I'm curious to know what passive aggressive statement.
I need to know what that was too.
Patrick Holmes. I'd be interested to know what that is. But I made it home. I hopped in the shower and I went on my phone. And the game was over. And I was cool with not seeing the ending. I think for me, man, I'm not into sports like that at all. But I couldn't help when you're sitting there, Gary. My heart, I'm like, man, I have
feeling the excitement.
I have nothing vested in this football game. I'm not on FanDuel gambling. I'm not doing any sports betting. I have nothing vested in this game. But when I'm sitting there with the brothers in the room, my heart was just running, man.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what I really enjoyed the most. I had both my brother-in-laws was there. He had some other relatives over. My nephew was over there, man. It was a really, really, really good time, man.
That's good. That's good. You know what I thought about, man? And I really hate to be the cold water to this.
Go ahead.
Because me and D, we were watching it here and there and chit-chatting a little bit. Because I stayed after at church for a long time. Then I had to make a stop at Target. And then when I got home, I was doing some stuff here. And by the time I sat down and to watch a little bit with her, the game was really, really dry. But my mind immediately went to, and I didn't voice this, to the bread and circuses of the Roman Empire and into the late Roman Empire. And I don't know if this is something that you want to get into later on. I know we're talking about the Super Bowl. I'm just saying that's what came into my mind for a minute. As the country was literally collapsing. Yeah. As the invaders were encroaching more and more on Rome proper, the people they had no clue because they were satiated by or pacified by the bread and circuses of the gladiatorial games. Yeah. They had no idea. They were just so enthralled by the games. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's you. I'm not saying that's me. But
no, you good.
Right. I just thought about it.
No, you good, and that'll lead into something else I want to talk about. But congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, I did hear Eddie about his father being arrested with a DWI.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Apparently on more than one occasion. But it's whatever they can do to disparage us in the slightest ways. I mean, Patrick Mahomes gets enough flack because he's married to a white woman. So whatever else they can do to disparage us in a public setting. And by the way, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with him being married to a white woman. I'm just saying he gets disparaged for that, mainly by both communities, not just by his. I've seen comments on both sides. That's what you get for being married to a white woman. Why you married to that monkey? I've seen any comment about Patrick Mahomes you want to name. I've seen it on both sides of deprivation. Right. So, but whenever there's an instance like that, they're going to do anything they can to just try to throw shade and disparage. I know they wanted the 267th quarterback draft pick, the last pick in the NFL, Mr. Purdy, to win. And shout out to San Francisco. Like,
hey,
bruh,
I wanted San Francisco to win.
Bruh,
I hate Kansas City.
Hate is a strong word, Gary.
I mean it then. Some stuff you gotta hate. But of course, in a sports context,
yeah, of course. But Purdy held his own yesterday, bro.
Yeah,
that San Francisco line, that dude had plenty of time to throw the ball, and he was not scared to throw the ball, bro.
The part that I saw, it was into the fourth quarter, and I just said to myself, because I've been watching football. I played football on multiple levels, including college. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, this game is San Francisco's to win. or is theirs to lose. They got this.
Yeah, my nephew
they
was like,
got this.
You see Patrick Mahomes doing this with his hands and doing this. They was like, hey man, they didn't woke him up. They didn't woke him up.
But he's a generational talent. He's bad. This dude.
These cats have won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 Super Bowls.
Last 6 years, yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
But hey man, kudos to him. Of course, my nephew made another call. He was like, look, I bet you every time Kelsey get the ball, they gonna throw the camera on Taylor Swift. And almost every time, if Kelsey made a catch, they threw the ball straight to Taylor Swift. But I don't know if you saw the part when Kelsey got into the coach's face.
We did. Me and D, we looked at that.
Yeah.
And she was like, whoa, what that's outrageous. And I was like, yeah, but you got all that testosterone.
It's football.
Running wild.
It's football, bro.
That's how it goes sometimes. They
ain't
brush that off if they win.
Pillows on the football field, bro.
That I guarantee you, that was forgotten 5 minutes after that happened.
Yeah, and you see the coach, he didn't flinch. He was like, "Yeah, get over yourself." That's why
Andy Reid,
he grabbed him like, "Hey, dude, like you don't want to get on Andy's bad side, bro. You'll be benched all next season, dude."
Andy Reid is a vet, man. He know what to do.
Yeah, he handled it well, man. But I thought it was a good game, but it really felt like it was a chess game, though.
Absolutely.
I mean, you had one kicker who had set the 55-yard field goal that set the NFL record in a Super Bowl. And then you had Kansas City dude come back and kick a 57-yard field goal who took that record away from the previous guy. So it was like inner battles going on at the same time, man.
Right.
Hey, bro.
What's happening? War with China, war with Russia, financial collapse, spiritual collapse, divine reckoning for millions, over 73 million aborted babies. You just go on and on and on.
Did you hear the comments that were made by former President Trump?
I did not.
I think my internet's acting funny, y'all. Let me know if y'all can't hear me. Oh, Gary, can you hear me, Gary?
I can hear you.
Okay.
You fine.
Okay. You kind of frozen up a little bit, but I know something happened on my end. This dude, I'm gonna paraphrase him because I know there's some Trumpsters out there that love that guy. But he talked about giving, if anybody was not paying their fair share in NATO when he's president again, God forbid, that he would give Russia free reign to attack those countries and not do anything about it.
No way.
This is a statement he made. This is a statement he made.
No way. I gotta look at that,
bruh.
I gotta look at that.
Matter of fact, he made it in South Carolina.
What?
Yeah, bruh. Real talk, man. Real talk.
I gotta find that. That's crazy.
Yeah. And so when we talk about America's pending everything you said, of course, every Rome must fall.
It's inevitable.
I believe, correct me if I'm incorrect, that America is one of the youngest countries on the planet.
It is definitely the youngest superpower in the history of superpowers.
Yes.
It has risen to a zenith of unprecedented power faster than any other empire, superpower, prominent nation that has ever existed, bar none. And it seems like it's going to fall with the same level of destruction as was its meteoric rise. It really looks that way. And you look around now, man, things are bad. Things are bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Your internet's a little locked up, Gary, unless it's me. I can hear you though. You're coming across your screen freezing a little bit. But Antoine makes a really good point. Not surprising he launched an attack on the nation and he is running again. Absolutely. The insurrection was an attack on the American people. And I've said it before. If Nancy Pelosi and any other Democrat would have still been inside of that chamber when they raided it, they would be dead today.
You think so?
Absolutely, 100%. When you come that far, you are ready to kill. You beat police officers. You hit a police officer in the head with something that killed him and led to his death. If that would have been black people, the National Guard would have been out there spraying bullets in every direction. The only dude who was a hero to me in that whole thing was not the brother who ran upstairs to get them cats away from the hall. It was that police officer who stood his ground and he fired that shot and he rocked that woman back through that glass.
I think you're giving them guys too much credit, and that's not to take away from the significance of that day. But these guys, I don't think that if Nancy Pelosi and the higher ups of the party were there,
how could you not?
I think you're giving them too much credit, man.
Gary, they chased the armed police officer upstairs.
I got you.
They chased the armed police officer upstairs.
I'm comparing what happened on that day with other armed insurrections and hostage situations that we have in history.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at that group, I think they were the sorriest insurrectionists, if you want to call them that, in the history of insurrection. In the history. So I'm measuring them by the great, and I don't mean great as in honorable, but great as in prominent insurrectionists and rebels and fifth columnists that history has to show us. When you talk about guys, I think people give that group, that aimless mob, I think people are giving them a little too much credit. That's just me. But I'm not saying anybody else is wrong.
You said mob though.
Mm-hmm.
Mob.
Mm-hmm.
A mob that is going under the guise of a person who said, "I'll be there with you," and never showed up. Who tried to skate away and skirt away from his responsibility as president of the United States. When was the last time a exiting president didn't go to the inauguration? He wasn't even welcome there. Nobody wanted him there because he set this whole thing in motion with a bunch of mindless, brainless cowards. Now, you had people there. Of course, everybody going to do the spin. Well, everybody there wasn't there for that. People were just, at the end of the day, you showed up because you believed the lie that the election was stolen. Maybe if we were still crying about that, we'd still be crying about Al Gore getting cheated, which we know happened. Well, the Supreme Court was complicit in it happening.
The Bushes were always going to be the presidents of the United States.
Right.
That family goes all the way back to, we're talking about early 1900s, late 1800s.
A woman died because she was frantic to attack, and she was a military veteran at that.
Mm.
They had bombs, poison, blades, maps of the building, wannabe paramilitary units, gun. Dude, these people weren't as not. Yeah, you always gonna have a bunch. But that's what you do. You blame that on Antifa. Oh, Antifa started this whole thing. Yeah, Antifa ain't started nothing. This was charged by the former president of the United States, and y'all showed up, and that's why people are still being charged.
Mm-hmm. They'll be charging those people into perpetuity, probably as long as they can go through the footage and find people.
They should. We have not seen white privilege in America on display like that. We hadn't seen it like that before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Black Lives Matter, when they marched on the Capitol, you saw the National Guard show up. These cats had on skull masks. They had skulls on their vests. I'm a Punisher fan. I know what skulls on a vest mean, baby. It means you're ready to do damage.
I am not a Punisher fan. We got to talk about him one of these days.
Yeah, this is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
When Black Lives Matter was coming, went to the Capitol, they had everybody on that bad fella. The military was in place. They had bollards in place. They had all these things in place for Black Lives Matter. Because unarmed Black people are still deemed a bigger threat than white supremacist tiki torch carrying white men.
But to play devil's advocate,
yep.
Let's talk about was he a captain? Captain David Dorn, who lost his life protecting. He was, I can't remember if he was on duty or off duty, but this is a Black police officer that lost his life in the riots and protests of that era. I don't want to call it the Black Lives Matter riots, but that whole weird time where there were just riots and protests, violent riots and protests.
Yeah, but they shouldn't even be equated with Black Lives Matter.
That's why I'm not saying the Black Lives Matter. But what I'm saying, you had this Black man that was on his post doing the right thing, and he lost his life by other Black people, and that story was glossed over.
And it shouldn't have been glossed over. But what I agree. What I don't want to confuse, and this is the thing where white rhetoric comes in, where we spin, and I'm using we general, Gary, not saying you, but I was when the riots happened over here on 83rd and Holland, where Walmart used to be. Me and the Champs brothers showed up the next day to go help clean up. Right? We had teachers who came out to show up to help us clean up the area. So while we're cleaning up this one side of 83rd and Holland, over by the bank, over by the restaurants, over by game, all this stuff that they smashed up, we open and sweeping. We watching car droves go into Walmart in droves, organized. So we go talk to the police officer. He's like, I'm not going over there. We told Walgreens to come in. We called Walgreens the night before and told them to come and secure this store and secure this building so we wouldn't have problems. Walmart didn't do it.
Well, we now know in retrospect, Walmart, Walgreens, some of these other businesses, they wanted to pull out of some of these communities anyway. They wanted to get out of those communities anyway. And this, I'm just going to be blunt, it provided a very convenient excuse to pull out, which is what they wanted to do. And
absolutely.
I think,
absolutely.
You remember, on 87th and the Dan Ryan, it's bad when the Heralds, the renowned Heralds on 87th and the Dan Ryan, they was like, we out. You can have it. We gone and we not coming back. Man, that place been there, I don't know how long.
But they back now. They're across the street now.
Oh, they are back? They're
across the street. But this is the thing for us as a people. This is my problem with a lot of the hip-hop community. Now, I'm not the biggest, well, I guess I am a fan of Dr. Umar Johnson. I think he does a lot of rhetoric, but the brother be spitting facts. But I like what he said. Now, Nas and them, I don't know if you know, Nas got together. I can't think who else is involved. Nas has gotten together and they're putting together like a hip-hop, they're putting an insurance package together for seasoned hip-hop artists. To get them guys medical benefits because of their contributions to hip-hop. Okay. But as I think, LeBron James built a school. Michael Jordan, who people think is stingy, is low-key with a lot of his business. Mike then gave millions, bruh. Hundreds of millions, bruh.
Yeah.
Right? But when I think about the wealth that has come into hip-hop at the degradation of our people, at the degradation of our women.
But see, that's when you got to ask, where's the money going from? The artists, and you know this, you're much more knowledgeable about the industry than I am, but it's like, I'm gonna use your term, it's levels to this.
Yep.
So when you talk about the wealth and financial power that the artists have, we know that is dwarfed by the wealth and financial power of the record company and the record execs and the parent companies
Yes.
That own those record companies.
Yeah.
So, who would fund this insurance? I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but who's going to fund it?
They've already started it. I have to look up and give you the details. They've already started it. You know, hip hop artists are funding. You're like, when you think about wealth that has been gained, 50 Cent, he's in a movie production now. LL Cool J was one of the first people that said movies is guaranteed money. I ain't got a tour when I'm in the movies, or I got a TV show. Like once I do that, like I'm good. Whether I get syndicated or not, that's another story, right?
Right.
But the bigger impact, and LL has talked about things he didn't know about the business when he went in. KRS-One talked about when they started doing hip hop, how they were being robbed by older black people in the business. Like, hey, KRS-One, he gonna call it out. He not gonna miss no words, right? But with all of that in a large scale, what is being done to rebuild the community as a large, as a whole? What financing is being used that should be talked about? I'm sure all these guys are doing something. Like, the thing is, if they donate 20 million, you got somebody who gonna say, "Oh, it's a tax write-off." So what? They didn't have to give it. But when it comes to the benefits of it, do you remember? It was one of the saddest things I'd ever seen. I've seen a lot of sad stuff in hip hop. I think it was when Snoop walked out and he had women on chains crawling on their knees.
Oh man, your boy. I know what you're talking about because, but that same illustration, it was repeated by another male hip hop artist. But instead, because my kids were talking about not my Dotson children, but my students, they were talking about Sexy Red and what's the other? It's like,
you can stop. That's enough right there.
They call her Suki. How the guy, he had them on dog chains and they were on their hands and knees and he was behind them like they were dogs. And they told me about it. I couldn't, but that harkens to the same visualization.
Suki also released a video on YouTube. Google Suki and YouTube, and you will see her talking about. She's like, I think I sold my soul to the devil. I don't know if Jesus is gonna be able to get me out of this. I just like. She's like, I'm tired of this, bro. She just went on a plea. I don't know where she is right now. I don't know how old this recording is, but she talked about she felt like she sold her soul to the devil. And I'm like, people talk about you can't sell your soul. First of all, you don't even own your soul. You ain't got no rights to give it away to anything. Your lifestyle dictates who gets your soul, not you signing a contract. Now, if you dance with the devil, you go
right. But in context, you understand. You understand what they're talking about.
I understand what they're talking about. Let's see. Was it Nelly that said the credit card through a black woman's? Was it Lady?
I remember that it was a video called Tip Drill. Okay, they used to come on that BET Uncut.
BET Uncut. Yeah. Oh, she back doing the same. That's why she back doing the same thing. Yeah, and she may have to. Maybe she just dancing with the devil now because she feels trapped.
That's why I hate BET to this day. I just had to throw that in there.
I mean, it's a lot. We talk about black exploitation TV. I don't call it black entertainment TV. I call it black exploitation television. And that's what leads me to like what I'm seeing in social media right now. When I talk about black production on white platforms. And that's not to knock anybody. Like, I don't know any of these cats. I don't know. I got no investment in Shannon Sharp. I got no investment in Monique, Cat Williams, Mike Epps, with whatever's going on. But the level of, I sent Antoine a text because me and Antoine, we text like sometimes 3-4 times a day. I sent Antoine a text and I said, Cat Williams, rich, Monique, rich, Kevin Hart, rich. And then I put opinions broke. But it's like you just said something previously, though, Gary. You alluded to all of our focus is happening here, and we're not watching what's encroaching, speaking of football, encroaching on our territory, right? if BRICS, that's been around since I think the late 80s in conversation, if BRICS actually gets pulled off and these countries start pulling off of the US dollar.
BRICS.
Yeah, BRICS. Yeah. First of all, let me sidetrack this. I see Americans happy about what's happening with BRICS.
It shows they don't really understand what's on the horizon.
They can't even see the impact of this happening to this country. Because part of that impact is if you think the United States is going to let other countries align to shut our dollar down, do you actually think the United States is not already working on infiltration plans to take care of all of that? We're talking about enemies, foreign and domestic. If you're trying to bankrupt the U.S., that falls into the category of an enemy. Let's keep it 100.
But here's the thing, though, about BRICS, and for all our listeners, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and the S. What's the S?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
So the tricky thing about BRICS, ever since World War II and when America was firmly established, America up until the Korean War and specifically Vietnam, the United States was the unquestioned sole superpower in the world. Okay? Vietnam showed the world that the mighty United States, there are limitations to its power. That's all Vietnam showed. That's what it showed.
Yeah.
But if you look at the United States covert military, paramilitary operations and overt military operations, they have always been against countries that, one, couldn't really fend them off.
Mm-hmm.
Two, countries, like you said, were threatening or were on the cusp of divesting of the dollar or purchasing oil in a currency other than the dollar. And for all of our listeners, they call that the petrodollar. But the frightening thing about BRICS is that it's a coalition, it's a confederacy of the countries that the United States cannot bully. Yeah, you might be able to go against, you might be able to intimidate India to a certain extent. You might be able to intimidate Brazil to a certain extent.
Thanks for the correction, Coach T. I'm sorry. That S is South Africa.
South
Thank
Africa.
you for the correction, Coach T.
And I'm glad. I thank you for that correction, because South Africa is zealously pro-Russia. But the last thing I'm gonna say, the United States got another thing coming if it thinks that it can intimidate Russia and China together. China's not intimidated at all.
But they're trying to bring back the president who's friendly with both of them.
That when we're talking about the world order and shifting power, Trump is this big. He's a blip.
Yeah.
The Constitution limits him to one more term. He's an afterthought.
Yeah.
We're talking about Vladimir Putin, who has worked it so that he's the prime minister or president we're talking 15, almost 20 years.
President and prime minister.
This dude is so cold, he talked to his boy, Dmitry Medvedev, and said, listen, I'm going to turn it over to you. You're going to give it back to me, even though you're going to be in charge, but you're going to give it back to me when your term is up. What kind of power is that where you're going to tell the dude that's going to be your boss and got all constitutional power, yeah, you give it back to me when you get done?
I mean, yeah, if you don't want one of them special sandwiches.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't want one of those special elixirs, you know.
But it just goes to show you that the power is shifting back east. And it's kind of what our Bible has told us, that the power is going to shift east. Mm-hmm. We're talking about prophecy unfolding right before our eyes. Go ahead. That's what it's about.
You know, our time is almost short.
Man,
I've loved the conversation. I got to deal with one more thing.
Come on. Social
media and children. The pimping of children to go viral. What I am seeing executed. Now, I'm speaking about Black families. It's not that I don't have concern for all God's people, but I want people to hear me clearly. This new challenge that is out is one of the most embarrassing, dehumanizing constructs I've ever seen. The bad word challenge.
What?
Have you seen this? The bad word challenge?
No.
It's taken off across social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
I'm sure it'll show up in our school eventually.
You can link them all into one thing. It won't show up at your school. This is why I won't show up at your school, Gary, because this one is targeting families. Where you give your child permission to use cuss words in the bathroom. They've set up a camera, they close the door, and they tell the kid you can say any cuss word you want to while you're in the bathroom by yourself. And they close the door. I am watching.
What?
But
they in the house though.
In the house, yeah. Y'all can you see this pretty baby right here?
Yes, sir.
You see that beautiful baby?
Yes, sir.
That's her mama behind her, giving her permission to use all these cuss words. So when mom goes out and closes the door, she's using the N word and she's using all these other profane words she can think of. Gary, what are we doing to our kids, man? What are they doing to our? This is the stuff that is poisoning our young people. And they go to school and you want to give them a whooping or give them a spanking because they cuss the teacher out. First of all, they're getting the cuss words from you. Second of all, now you want to get mad at them for cussing the teacher out when you just let them do this.
You enable them.
Teachers are already being cussed out on a daily basis.
Facts.
I've had it happen to me. I'm sure you've had it happen to you. I'm sure you've seen other staff members around that it's happened to. Why are we letting our babies, putting our babies on social media and got them using cuss words and then you upload it to the internet like a proud parent?
Tony, we've talked about it, man.
I looked up that young man you told me to look up last week, bro. I was brokenhearted.
Talking about little RT?
Little RT. See, this is like, don't come to me about what the white man doing. Shut your mouth. Don't even talk to me. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. This is personal responsibility and accountability. And this stuff is foolishness, bro. It's foolishness. The attitudes I got to deal with in church from this generation of young people, bro, I'm like, poor Jesus, you bet. Poor Lord, you bet. Tone,
I can't tell you how many days I've had to, multiple times in the day, I got to walk away. Yeah. I can't talk to you right now. I got to make it home.
Yeah, it's tougher at church, right? Because we're there to love.
Yeah.
We're there to introduce. We're there to love. We're there to help. But dude, sometimes the blatant disrespect from these young people, without the power of the Holy Spirit, none of us in youth ministry across this country could endure without the power of the Holy Spirit. Because we got to love different. We got to be different. We got to show different. You know, they coming from the world. I don't know what this kid background is. I didn't talk to young people. I didn't talk to some of these hard young people, dude. They going through some stuff.
I don't know if you can hear me. You froze. You back. You back.
Froze.
You back.
Okay. These young people are going through some stuff, man. I get it. I recognize it. And so we have to love on a different level with them.
Absolutely.
We have to have a patience and a tolerance. This is what every public school teacher is going through now. Coach T, Anthony Townsend out there, he worked with young people all the time. Antoine working with young people every day. The stuff he got to deal with, the stuff he see that he has to deal with.
I say it all the time to my colleagues. I've said it in doing presentations. I've said it in workshops. Education / dealing with young people in any capacity, it's a heart affair.
Gotta be.
If your heart is not in it and all the way in it, you're going to fall flat on your face, because these young people, they can see through a phony. If they know you're not there for them and you don't give two dead flies about them, if they don't think with a full heart that you care about what happens to them, you lost them already before you get through the first lesson.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, bro, it's the challenge. When I know I'm a man, I ain't got to prove to none of these young dudes that I'm a man.
That's right. That's right.
When that young man threatened me at one of my noble schools, I just stood there.
That's right.
There's no need for me to prove I'm a man to you. You're a child.
That's right.
That's when they come speaking to me the next. Hey, Mr. Briscoe, how you doing? He ain't never called Mr. Briscoe before, but for the day, his first time ever addressing me was, you mother, you son of a, I kill your N-word this, N-word that. A couple of days later, hey, Mr. Briscoe, how you doing? Because I didn't give him what he was used to. Because I know I'm a man. I ain't got to give you energy back, bro. But if I don't have that in check as a man, I learned that from my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law had to share some hard words with me to wake up to the big picture, bro. And I love my sisters in love. My in-laws, bro, they the coldest. I understand why my wife is the way she is. All the women in my wife's family, all of them, honor they men like I've never seen honor before. Every last one of them, bro.
Wow.
Every last one of them. But she had to give me a hard lesson years ago when I was having a hard. She had to give me some hard words for me to wake up. So I learned from her why am I giving adult energy to a child?
That's right.
I had to learn that from her, bro. And I had to carry that with me. It's been keeping me at church. If you're listening, sis in love, it's been keeping me at church. Because I came up in the generation of the Elder Smiths and the coaches. They would snatch you up and have you hanging in the air. I'm not lying either. They would have you snap in the corner, hemmed up in the air, bro. Like, who you think you talking to, boy?
And especially you being male, we being male.
Yes.
We have added responsibility that when everybody else is losing it, you can't lose it. Even if you want to.
Even if you want to,
you can't lose it.
Yeah. And every time,
even if you got a right to lose it,
even if you lose it. Say it again, Gary. Say it again for the people in the back.
Even if you have a right to lose it and go off and run amok. Because if it all goes down and then you do it, guess who's wrong? You are, because as the male, you're supposed to keep it under control. You're supposed to be level-headed.
I watched a video of a black teacher last week. And, I just say at some point, these young dudes got to learn, don't step into an adult place.
That's facts.
And what the teacher should have done was walked out the room. I'm betting he was a substitute. But you got a young man in your face. Now, this brother was probably in his 60s, maybe 65, close to 70.
I think I saw the one you're talking about.
And you got a young Latino kid in your face calling you the N-word.
This the one when he slapped him?
Bruh, he went to town on that. He went to town on that kid, man.
I saw that.
I felt for him because it's like, we got to be, but I don't know what PTSD that dude had from being called an N-word with the ER on the end of it back in the day, in the 60s when he was coming up. I don't know what kind of trauma that man dealing with. But the fact is that our nation has gotten to a point where a teacher, if not in pay, but in respectability, used to be the most revered field in this country.
That's out the window.
It's out the window. Go bump your gums like that in Sweden and see what happened to you. Bump your gums like that in Russia. Bump your gums like that in China. I just came from Ghana, bruh. Do you know what they will do to a kid who disrespects a teacher in a classroom in Ghana? They will beat the brakes off of them. Not advocating violence.
I understand.
By any means, not advocating capital punishment.
But you're talking about a cultural expectation. Yeah.
I learned that if kids are late to school a certain amount of times, they get physically disciplined in West Ghana, Africa, bruh. They take education serious.
Bro, our children have such a high absentee rate. It's, how come you didn't come to school? Oh, I didn't feel like it. or I overslept. Oh, I had something to do. What?
Gary, I pulled up one day. I'm sitting in the new area of the school that was built. I'm on the second floor and I'm looking out the window and I'm trying to have this meeting. And I'm like, hey, let me call y'all back. Between 8:40 and 9:20, I counted 70 kids who had just got to school.
I ain't surprised.
Hot chips, coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, all of these things.
Honey buns, Pop-Tarts.
It's all of these things, man. And yeah, Demetri, it definitely starts at home. But when we got parents who want to put their kids on social media and expose them to the darkness of the web, you're introducing your kids to the darkness of there's nothing cute about letting a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old go in the bathroom and say all the cuss words. There's nothing cute about that.
But Tony, is just a reinforcement of what we've discussed before, that those good old things, those good old expectations that our generation received from the previous generation. I say it all the time. Generation X, us, forgive me, millennials, I think we were the last great generation. Obviously that's a little tongue in cheek, but seriously though, we were the last generation that really en masse received those old cultural traditional expectations for conduct around elders, in church, at a funeral, when you're out in public, in the store, this, that, and the other.
Yes,
that stuff is out of here, man. And I hate to say that. It's out of here.
It's gone. I feel you, bro. It's gone. And it's frightening. And it's frightening because I think we are missing. You know, I've been a little tense tonight, man, before I got on the show. Is because whenever I have to sit down and me and the wife got to talk finances, and I've got the financial advisor, on the phone, and you and I have talked about just waking up late, not knowing about certain things and financing and investments and all this stuff, and trying to play catch up. It's really tough for men our age. When you're trying to play catch up, when you've been, not living check to check, but living check to every other check. Like, life happens, right? We get it. And it's just the frustration that comes when we're trying to build the best path forward for our family, for our future. And then we look at the generation that's coming up and we look at the opportunities that they are, bro. Now I'm gonna get beef for this. I already know it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm gonna say it anyway. There's several young black men I've reached out to about the IT field. If you're doing nothing, reach out to me. I'll do whatever I can. I'll hook you up to free programs and all this. I can name at least 4 offhand that have not reached out to me in a year.
Why you think that is? I have a theory.
I think ego.
Why do you think that is?
I think pride. I think pride. I think people are embarrassed to reach out for help. And I like to think the good thing like that first. It's hard for us to ask for help, especially black men, because we're already considered in some regard under the black woman. When I look at the emasculation of black men, I don't, Shannon Sharp's show is called Club Shay Shay. And people are making fun of Shay Shay, trying to effeminate him. Black men trying to effeminate him.
I don't see a problem with it.
Right? If we knew what your mama nicknamed you, you probably be like, hey man, y'all keep that on the low. Like, no, we gonna call you what your mama nicknamed you.
Yeah, my mother has a nickname for me that
you will keep to your grave.
That's right. But when she calls me that,
yeah,
something inside of me just flutters because it takes me back.
It flutters, man.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's part of it. The other part, I can speculate, is the desire for everybody to be social media influencers.
Bingo.
Is taking us away from the bigger opportunities.
Bingo.
AI has been around for at least 30 years. We're just seeing the advancement. Matter of fact, I believe AI has been around since the 60s.
Think so?
Oh, absolutely. Not in the scale it is now because of technological advances, but in terms of predictability, productability, predictability, in the terms of scaling, in the terms of doing averages and being able to program things in to see, hey, if we get this many black boys who failed the 3rd grade, we already know we got the next prison population that we're going to need. What can we do to ensure that they fail the 3rd grade? Let's put less black men in front of them. Let's put less strong masculine men in front of them. Let's just do all these other things that will add to the statistic and the data point that will get us what we need to continue to fulfill the pipeline to prison.
I got you. So artificial intelligence more in those days as an algorithm to get the outcome that you want.
Absolutely.
I got you.
Absolutely. That's all AI is in essence.
Yeah.
Right. It's an algorithm, a predictability, a function.
Yeah.
Right. And the more you feed into it, the more it begins to take over and observe. Right. What people did, let's see. Eddie says what people did think these white think tanks have been doing. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Right. So when you think about things like that, like I think it was Crazy Bone who talked about, he didn't give specifics because he couldn't, but he talked about them all going to not him per se, but
I watched that. Yeah.
Other executives going to a meeting with black artists, black producers saying, hey, this is what we're going to push. Sign this NDA. And if we hear anything about this conversation outside of this, you're going to pay for it gravely. Right? To know that some of those men left, but to know that others of us who were at that table didn't.
They stayed, yeah.
And then you look at the violent culture that hip hop has produced. Now, when NWA was out, it was a lot of talk. The only thing that shifted was now we have to align gangster music with more gangster movies. Mm-hmm. Now, we're not going to forget about black exploitation that already existed in the 60s and the 70s. We are clear on that.
Which was planned.
Which was planned.
Which was planned.
We talked about the CIA operative who was the brother. I can't think of his name. Y'all told me. I don't know if it was. I can't think of the name, but Norman Lear. All these cats played a role in all of these things.
Yes, even rumors that Gordon Parks was.
Yes, Gordon Parks. Yes, that's the one.
CIA.
Yeah,
CIA affiliated.
Yeah, and so when you think about what more, there was a time when hip hop turned from just being gangster rap entertainment, and then you started seeing movies aligned to music, right? And so now when you get New Jack City that comes out, when you get Boys in the Hood that comes out, and then when you get Menace to Society that comes out,
you always got to push the envelope.
You got to push the envelope, right? You had the Sugar Hills, you had the Harlem Nights that really dealt with things from that perspective of the Harlem Renaissance and things like that. Mm-hmm. But the impact on culture was so great, and it's impactful to now hip hop, which still exists, but the underground rap, the drill music. I listened to a video of some, I don't know what gang affiliation they were with, but they told this dude, he was like, man, y'all ain't got nothing on this particular sec. I'm not going to say their name over the air because these cats, they'll come for you. I'm not a G. Everybody know that. But the dude was telling him, he said, bro, what are you talking about? Nobody won the war. He said, we lost the war. Look at the blood trail we left, dog. You here trying to promote this gangster stuff. I was a part of this. Look at the blood trail we left. Look how many kids died because of us. Look how many innocent people were caught in our crossfire.
Yeah.
He said, bro, didn't no side win. The folks didn't win. The moles didn't win. Our people dead, dog. We ain't got nothing to show for it. He was even trying to tell this dude, like, you trying to hype me up on this show. And dude was super emotional like I am right now. But he was just like, bro, we lost the war. We lost it all because at the end of the day, we killed each other. I'm just old enough to recognize I was a part of that now.
You remember that lyric in the classic Ice Cube song, My Summer Vacation, when he said they went to St. Louis and he said they dined for a street that they never heard of.
But other little dudes want to stand strong. So you know the phrase once again is on. My homie got shot. He's a goner. Black St. Louis dudes want their cornerback. And then but check the next line. Creeping in stormy weather. It's a legal business.
And cats still can't stick together.
You see the irony and all that?
But he was telling straight facts.
Absolutely, he was.
And you know what?
Absolutely.
I believe, I will take this to my grave. I believe that NWA, whether or not they were conscious of it or complicit in it, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But I do believe that the forces behind them and the forces behind Jerry Heller, I believe that they zealously pushed NWA, because up until that time, hip hop, it was dangerous because you had Public Enemy, Boogie Down Productions,
yes.
Poor Righteous Teachers, Big Daddy Kane,
Rakim.
You had all these guys. Yeah, they were on some. We gotta come together. We gotta build each other up. NWA comes out and boom, it's like Chuck D never even existed. It's like Rakim never even existed.
Hey, Eddie, you can't bring up Al Sharpton with Gary, man. We got this show will be another 5 hours, man. We can't do that. Don't do that to me, Eddie.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on
don't
that
get him
dude.
Started, Eddie. Please. Don't get him started, man.
Please. I was about to say somebody else, but he's a higher up. He's a higher up friend of somebody.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's good, Eddie. That's good. That's good. That's good. But hey, fam, you know, this is Christian Men, Christian Walk, Christian Talk, and we come together and have regular conversations. You know I was a bit animated tonight, but that's just how I am. That's how I am. But we like the show because this is what we do. We're going to have some guests on probably starting in March. I'm going to be reaching out to people to have them come on. If you got something that you're doing in the community, come on and talk to us about it. This is a show. It's Christian Men, Christian Walk, Christian Talk, where the sisters are always welcome. We're always happy to have folks on. Eddie, I think you'll be talking about this book on Friday night on Man Up Real Talk, I believe. Eddie says in his new book, I am pointing out that this activity is not new. In the book, I want you all to look at how Rome manipulated the Numidians and the
Carthaginians.
Thank you. The Carthaginians. Yeah, Eddie, I'm looking forward to this, bro. I'm so looking forward to this. Thanks, cuz. Appreciate you, man. Love you, bro.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm supposed to be out here at 8 o'clock. It's already 8:16.
Yeah, you got stuff to do, bro.
I got stuff to do. Hey, fam, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Coach T, thanks for that correction. Again, the correction was the S in BRICS does not stand for Saudi Arabia. Like, why would it? It stands for South Africa. So thanks for that correction, Coach T. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We will be back here on next Monday. Until then, may the peace of God, which passes all understanding, guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. We are out of here. Welcome to Message Monday. Christian Men, Christian Walk, Christian Talk with your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, we interrupt this importantly scheduled broadcast closing to talk about what happened this weekend with marriage couples. I'm so sorry, y'all. I got to get this out. Gary, we had every couple that had been married 41 plus years come up to the front of the banquet hall, and we had represented over 857 years of marriage. Bro, that was off the chain. Over 857 years of marriage, bro. It was a beautiful thing. Hey, happy Valentine's Day out there, fam. Hope y'all like the Black History Tip. It's your boys. I had to just make sure I mentioned that. We'll talk a little bit more about marriage next week. And so, because we got to get into some marriage stuff for real.
Yes,
for real, for real. But
yes,
until then, hey, man, thank y'all for hanging out with us. Y'all be blessed. We out of here.